everybody. Welcome, NorCal Sports Network. And we got the great Marty Lurie in the house tonight as pitchers and catchers. I think they reported today, right, Eric? Today?
Nope.
Yeah.
No, I think it's the 15th. I could be wrong.
Okay.
I think it's the 15th, and I report on the 16th. I think that's
16th.
the deal.
Okay. There we go. Well, Marty, welcome.
Hey, glad to be here. And as I told Eric, this is the time of baseball. You know, the football was an amazing story. We loved it. It was a great year. So many things to talk about. But now, you know, after about 3-4 days, that's it for football. And now it's time for this amazing story to start. You know where it's going. You know, we can pick it apart every day for 6 months and make all the trades and do all the things. And every day we get another story. So it's hope. It's what baseball lives for. It's what the fan lives for and what we live for. You look out the window all winter long and you're just waiting for spring to start. And in Arizona, believe me, it started.
Yes. I just need you to help me get a GM job, Marty. I got trades galore going.
All right. Well, you'd have to stand in line behind Larry, but he's the GM of the Warriors, the 49ers, and the Giants. So.
Yeah, I put a trade out there today because I listen to a lot of baseball network while I'm driving, and they were talking about Pete Alonso and how they thought maybe the Mets should. They're not a team they don't think is ready to contend if they don't get more pitching, and thought, well, maybe you get rid of Alonso now and move him, and maybe you can get a little bit more for him because a team can actually get a qualifying offer if they trade for him now versus waiting until the trade deadline in July.
Sure.
I think he'd be a great Giant along with Soler and but there's those are all long shots and wish lists that never usually come to fruition.
No, it's good to talk about it. You know, the thing with Alonso, it's New York. It's the Aaron Judge story all over again. You just don't let a guy like this walk. You don't. It's New York City. He hits 50 home runs. He hits 230, and then in today's world, that's acceptable. And what are you going to tell me? The Mets are going to tell 12 to 14 New Yorkers we're going to rebuild, and these 3 rookies we're going to get for Pete Alonso. Everyone's going to love it. New York will go crazy. You can't do that in New York, not in that town. So personally, I think Alonso stays, and I just don't think John Stearns wants to walk in on his first day on the job and trade Pete Alonso. I think that, that would take huge.
Well, Sabes did it here when he traded Williams.
Well, they said that he was crazy.
Yeah.
And Matt Williams at that time, when he got back, Jeff Kent, which of course was right. Decent. But
I think everybody thought he was crazy. I mean, I was like, what?
I know.
Jeff Kent?
Yeah. But it's still different trading Matt Williams and Pete Alonso for the Mets. We'll see, but it's good to talk about.
Yeah.
It's kind of late it's early in spring training, but late in the time when we put teams together. Right. But life is different now. We're going to these next 10 days will be a frenzy of things happening. And we saw that today with Soler. Chapman is going to go, and Bellinger is going to go, and Snell's going to go, and Montgomery's going to go. J.D. Martinez is going to go. Tim Anderson's going to end up all these players are going to end up somewhere.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about Tim Anderson. So, Marty, with your if you were just a wild guess, or if you had a bet in it, where do some of those free agents end up, you think? Do the Giants land any of them?
I think there's still a reasonable chance. They're just overloaded on that side of the infield, this Chapman business. Do they want to sacrifice some offense for that great defense? And in a way, I wish they would, because I said it on the show with you guys, it helps Luciano. I mean, this is a rookie shortstop who, is kind of wild, and you want him to be your shortstop. put Brooks Robinson next to him, and he'll settle him down. So, look, he was an athletic. I think they're waiting for the market to settle on him. Now, he's a guy that you probably could get a 1 or 2 year deal with an option. Bellinger's not going to do that. He's going to get his money. Snell's not going to do a 2-year deal, and say, well, let me prove myself again. This is his chance. This is Bellinger's chance to cash in. Chapman still has a little bit of play, to come back. And if he came back with a big year, then maybe something could happen. So I think the Giants still could be in that mix. Although on that side of the infield, it is overloaded, with Casey. You've got J.D. Davis there. You got Flores who can, be over there.
Right.
So who knows?
I was pulling something up, and I can't remember where I saw it. I'll have to look it up, maybe see if I can find it. But I was looking at Jorge Soler's numbers, games played over the last 8-10 years. He's only got a couple of seasons where he played over 100 games. And they correlated it with him playing in the outfield, which caused oblique. I think the last year he did play a little bit of outfield as well, but I think the Giants got to get athletic in the outfield and have 3 stellar defensive outfielders and leave Soler as, your JD Martinez. JD Martinez never saw the field for the Dodgers. Just put Soler at the DH and,
let him rip.
Lee pans out. Hopefully he can man center field if his arm is strong enough. You've got guys like Conforto still on the roster. Yaz can play a really good right field. See what happens with Matos.
Oh, you got Slater and Matos. Look, they got Soler to hit.
Right.
They didn't get Soler. He had 2 seasons, as you point out, I think 2019 and last year, over 100 games. And that's it. The guy, he can hit. As I said this on Twitter, and I've said it all winter long, that's the guy I want. That's the guy who can turn a pitch around, and he can drive in 100. He can hit 30. He'll hit 240. Doesn't strike out. He's not going to strike out 200 times. He may strike out 150 times. But when he comes to the plate, you want to watch it. And for the Giants, it's huge. So, just get him on the team. Pretty much DH him, I think. And which kind of begs our question, what do you do now with J.D. Davis? You've just signed him for $6.9 million. He did lead the team in RBIs. He had a terrible second half, but his first half was good. You put him at third. You got Schmidt kind of backing him up. You got Luciano at short. They still don't have a veteran behind him at short. So there's still a spot, I think, would be the next pickup would be a shortstop. Today they picked up Otto Lopez from Toronto. And he was DFA'd by Toronto last week, 25 years old. He is from the Dominican Republic. I can't wait to see the kid play because, he looks like a kid who's got hands. You know what I mean?
Is he a utility infielder or what? What is he?
He plays second short, basically in the middle of the diamond. You can throw him in the outfield if you have to. He's got a little bit of pop. He was signed as an 18-year-old. He's now 25, I think. He plays a lot of winter ball. He was in AAA last year. But when I saw this Brett Lawler take ground balls at the World Series for Arizona, I said, wow, look at the hands. These are the hands of Louis Aparicio. These are the hands of a shortstop. It's the way you'll love to see a shortstop look. Giants have had guys like this at, Crawford in a way. But when you see that player from the Dominican who's got those Tony Fernandez look to him, he's played short all his life. That's what this kid, I'm hoping, looks like. So he may have a shot at getting on the roster too. So it gets us back to the Chapman, J.D. Davis, Soler. What do you do with all these people? And that's what spring training is all about.
I was reading, I think it was Baggerly mentioning thought that maybe Conforto or Davis or both could be on the block with this move of Soler.
I mean, it just it could be. But let's see. They need an infielder. They're probably not going to get a starting pitcher, I would think, until they see what spring training looks like.
Right.
I mean, I think Logan Webb is here. Harrison is here. He's going to start with the team. Hicks is going to start with the team. They're not going to all of a sudden say at the end of spring training, Hicks here now the 7th inning guy.
Right.
He's going to be a starter. That's 3. Beck and Wynn go for the other 2. And then let's see what goes on. There's the waiver wire. Maybe some veteran will be cut. Maybe Wisenhunt will have a shot. Maybe he'll look good. But I just don't see them in the middle of going out for another starting pitcher unless you traded Conforto or J.D. Davis and got a number 4 or 5. We're not looking at a 1, 2, or 3 here.
Right.
But they maybe can bring a 4 or 5. And that could happen. That's a possibility.
When I read the article last week that Bob Melvin was quoted as saying, in 2012, we beat the Rangers on the last day of the season, and we started 5 rookies that year, and 5 starting pitchers, and only 2 were on the 40-man roster. And this came out with the announcement of the non-roster invitees who are kind of stacked with young pitchers: Mason Black, Wisenhunt, Landon Roop, couple of others, Birdsong, some starters there. So I think it signaled to me that they're gonna go with their young pitching.
Yeah, maybe so. That maybe we'll see. That's what spring training. You got 32, 34 games that mean absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So we're going to see a lot of pitchers, and we're going to do some good shows. For me, the pre-games, obviously on the weekend, and being on with you guys or Larry or anybody else, we've got a lot to talk about in spring training. Now, the A's thing, of course, in 2012, whenever it was for Melvin, he wasn't chasing Yamamoto and Ohtani, and 17 pitchers on the Dodgers, and a pennant winner in Arizona, and they've loaded up a little more. And the Padres are still the Padres, as bad as they were last year. They still have a core group there. Still do. Mm-hmm. And then you get the Giants. So Giants have got their work cut out for them, but it's okay. We want young players. This is what we want to see what these guys can do.
I'm fine with the young guys. I felt like
let's see what they can do.
I wish they would have given guys more of an opportunity to get some of that at bats in the season last year, and let them make the offseason adjustments that they needed to make.
I don't think they had the hitters to do that, but look, Beck and Wynn, they got a shot, and Harrison got a shot.
Right? Yeah, the pitchers did, but and Schmidt got a decent shot, and Matos. I was a little disappointed that Ramos still hasn't had a shot. He proved himself in AAA. Last year was I thought a good season to let him play, because I didn't think they were going anywhere, and let him play. And then at least you know what you got. Now you got another year. You really don't know. He's only had 79 lifetime major league at bats.
Well, how's he going to break in now? Where are you going to even give him a chance?
I know.
To break in? With Soler as a 3-year deal, it kind of takes that right-handed DH spot away.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe he comes into camp and he takes right field by storm. Maybe he hits
other right fielders.
If it was between Yaz and Ramos was out playing him, I'd play Ramos personally, just because of his age.
You're not going to see. Who cares what happens in Arizona? He could hit 700 in Arizona when the season starts. You're not sitting Yaz at 10 million down or whatever.
What was that guy's name? Randy Elliott. Another Randy Elliott in spring training.
I remember that. That's yeah.
Guy hit 600 in spring training. He made
It's fabulous. He was in the story every single day.
Yeah,
and that was the end of him. So that's what spring's all about. And the other one is Bart. And you and I talked about it on the show with Eric, and Bart and Ramos are in that position of they really should be somewhere else. and with a real shot at a ball club at trying to do what you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, there's teams that can use those guys, maybe like the A's or someone like Kansas City or
the Angels tried signing everybody. So the point is, you don't want Corey Kluber. He retired. You don't want that ilk. You want to go with the guys you named, and let's see if they can make it. All you want in today's game, look, you're not asking a starting pitcher to pitch 8 innings, even though Brian Price and Melvin said they're going to go further. The way these guys operate, 5 to 6 innings, that's it, you're gone. And then have a loaded bullpen behind them with these hard throwers. See, that's where all these hard throwers come in, because then you can discover guys to come into the bullpen at that point.
We actually did a poll last night. We actually did a poll on the show last night. We had 150 people vote whether the Giants sign Trevor Bauer. 72% said yes.
Well, okay.
Big minimum.
What was the demographic of those 72?
I think our average demographic is about 35, 40 years old, right?
Yeah.
Roughly.
Yeah. 35 to 55, somewhere in there.
Yeah. We'll see. Well, look, he's going to have to get a chance somewhere. It's not going to be here. I would think.
I wouldn't think it would be here. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't think it'd be here in San Francisco.
Our town is just. I don't think it's going to happen with this organization. But they did pick up Amir Garrett. Because they need some lefty help in the bullpen. Big kid. He's the basketball player, I think. Isn't he from the Ivy League, if I'm not mistaken? Was it Princeton or somewhere? I think.
I'm not sure. I think they brought him in so that maybe he can just take on the whole Dodgers.
Just take on the whole team. Just send him out there.
Run over to the dugout and just knock him out. And that's how you beat him.
He's a big kid. He throws hard, and he's a lefty. They need a lefty. All they have is Ethan Small and the other Rogers guy. So Garrett's been around.
Back too, I guess, huh? Yeah.
Terrific. But Garrett is a guy who just walks the park. That's the problem. When he comes in, it's just, it's the old arson squad, throwing, gasoline on the fire. When he gets the ball over the plate, when he can command the ball, he's tough. But he walks a tremendous amount of players. So that's the problem. But that's a good that's a live arm. That's a live arm.
Kind of same thing with Aroldis Chapman. He was he kind of went crazy where he had great stuff, but he just can't get the ball over the plate. That was nerve-wracking during the World Series or even during the playoffs. Anytime he came in, ooh.
I know. Garrett's a lot like that.
Yeah.
The ball is going to 3-2, 3-2. And he had some rough outings, but with the Reds, he was pretty good for a while with the Reds. So I like it. That's a perfect guy for the Giants to bring in. Hard thrower, veteran. They've had a lot of luck with Wandy Peralta and those kind of guys. And this is of that, genre. So, yeah, I like that with Garrett. I like that.
Another possibility that I threw out last night on the show, again, this came from me hearing some guys talk about on the MLB network. They suggested that the perfect fit for the Giants would be Alex Bregman in a trade because he's a dead pull hitter. And down left field line at Oracle's not that big of a poke to get it out. And he's free agent. They're over the luxury tax right now. They got to sign Kyle Tucker and Framber Valdez coming up. They're not going to be able to keep all of them, and they definitely Tucker's the priority. Tucker's a top 10 player probably going forward. Bregman's 30-ish, going to be 31, making $30 million right now. Would you make a move if you could? Let's say the Astros took, maybe J.D. Davis back where he started and used him at J.D. Davis and maybe a young pitcher or something that with the Astros. Probably take 3 or 4 guys to get Bregman, but would you do something like that, or would you sign Chapman? Would you go with Schmidt? What do you think is the best option for the Giants for 24 and going forward into the next year or two?
Well, I think the answer about Bregman, look, he's a core player of Houston, and they're still a pennant-winning team, and they've got a new manager. They just signed Altuve to a long contract. They're not going to let Bregman walk. It's not. He's a critical part of that team.
I would think so.
The Giants, number one, Houston's not going to move him. Number two, the Giants do not have the kind of package of players to come anywhere near to entice Houston to do anything. So that's ridiculous. However, let's talk about third base, because that's the real issue. If you get Chapman, you're committing, let's say for the next 3 years, you're committing to Chapman. And I said this to you guys, and I've said it on the show, the Giants have to learn how to take risks. Not everything will be the perfect analytical, because he does this and the barrel rate is this and the age is this and the fly ball rate is this. Therefore, 3 years for this money is analytically correct. You can't do that. You've got to be able to take a risk. Maybe the idea with Chapman is you do take that risk. It may not be perfect, but you bring him in, you pay the $100 million for 4 years or 5 years, whatever it takes, and make him your third baseman. He's not going to lose it defensively, and he is going to hit the ball, and he's a right-handed hitter. He can hit the ball out in this park. So if I had my druthers, I would say yes, get Chapman. It's a risk. Soler is a risk. He's only had 2 years of over 100 games since 2019. They took a risk with him, but the risk of 3 years of $40 million is nothing. It's nothing for a guy who could hit 35. He hit 36 last year. He hit 36. He hit 48.
In a big ballpark.
He had 48 home runs in 2019 in Kansas City. He was an MVP of the World Series.
Right.
Take that risk. So I would, to answer your question properly, I would take the risk and get Chapman and put him in as my third baseman. I would take
I've been on record saying I'm not a big Chapman fan just because of the longevity of the contract, but I would take the risk and structure a contract something like this, because this is probably in his mind, in Boris's mind, this is his big payday, and he wants
getting it
right. So my thing would be, because I know Boris wants 5-6 years for Chapman, and he wants close to 20 a year. I would do something like this. I would pay him higher AAV the first 2 years, 25, even 30 million. With the third year, the Giants have an opt-out after the second year. So
maybe
and then they
happen with him, because as I said, he may not have the leverage of Snell and Bellinger. He may have to deal with a contract like that. That's not impossible.
See, I like that idea, because let's say he's really, really productive and the Giants say, okay, we've front loaded the contract. Now the next 4 years are only like 14, 15 million a year. That's a tradable piece if you want to move off of it. But if you put it at 20 million for, say, 6 years, 120 for 6, if he's terrible after 2-3 years, you're kind of stuck holding the bag for 3 years. But if you like the idea of 2 years and you say, you know what, we're going to move off of him, we're going to buy him out. So Chapman makes 60 million, maybe 70 million for the first 2 years. You walk away, you got production, hopefully. And if you didn't, you took the risk, but you're not left holding the bag for 3-4 more years.
Yeah. Well, look, next year there's probably not going to be a Yastrzemski. There probably won't be a Slater. There won't be a J.D. Davis. There won't be a Flores. In that level, there won't be a Conforto.
Right.
They're going to be gone. And
actually,
now
you know what? Flores is only signed next year for like $3.5 million. He's got one more year after this year.
Well, as I say, with guys like that, get rid of him a year too early rather than a year too late. Because God forbid, but he's such a good hitter. He probably can come off the bench and help you, even at that low price. But the point is, you have to say, who are we? what's the free agent class next year looking like? There's a lot of players, and I don't have the list in front of me, but next year's free agent class is loaded with a lot of players that maybe you have a shot at getting. Then what you have to evaluate, what does Schmidt mean to you? Is he going to make it? What is really the key to this whole deal for me is Luciano. I mean, if Luciano, that bat plays for me. I mean, I'm telling you, to put him at short, you're putting a lot of pressure on this kid, a lot of pressure on him. I wish he could be maybe the third base. Maybe they're thinking if he doesn't make it at short, this bat plays, he's going to be a third. Or maybe he'd be at first or something like that. So we don't get involved with Chapman until we really know what we have with Luciano. So maybe that's why they're hesitant on him. But Luciano is a key guy for me to this whole free agent discussion. Because if he makes it and Soler makes it, you've got it sort of the middle of a batting order. Because Luciano can swing the bat.
Yes.
He can. That bat plays for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Another guy that I've been advocating for, and I think he could be had for not too much of the farm, is Luis Arraez in Miami. He's a guy that'll hit you 325 plus, and he's not the best fielder, but I advocate getting him because then you have Lee and then Arraez, two guys that get on base at the top of the order. Now you've got Soler and you've got some other guys behind it can actually knock these guys in. And I would take Estrada and I would make Estrada your Chris Taylor, where he plays left field one day, he's at short, he's at second, he's at third, but he's in the lineup 5 days a week. He's not a 6 or 7 day week. Got to give him a day or two off because he hasn't played a full season. But I like Estrada being able to play left field and the infield positions because he's got a good bat. And then you bring in Arraez, who Miami has said he's available. Giants need contact hitters in Oracle Park.
Well, they got one in Lee. That's what Lee's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. He's kind of Arraez. That's kind of what you're talking about is what Lee is supposed to be. But I love Arraez. First of all, he's a great kid. Great. I had him on the show last year. I met him down here in Arizona when the Marlins came in. This is a kid who stands there and talks with you and talks real to you about how he hits and this and that. Could he hit 400? This is when he was flirting with 400. I just had a lot of fun with him. He's a solid kid.
Wow.
I'd love
to be a great Giant.
Yeah, but I think they think they have that with Lee. That's what they've.
I think you can have two of those guys because I think if you bat him second, I think it helps Lee see better pitches.
Yeah, well, Lee is.
You don't want to.
We don't know who Lee is yet.
Right.
And that's another one of spring training. Hicks, you got to see. Lee and Luciano. I mean, that's why the Giants spring training becomes very interesting.
Yeah. Who's your three guys? We asked this last night. Who's three guys you're most excited to see this spring?
I would say Andy Baggerly.
Oh, nice.
Andy, can't wait to talk ball with Andy.
Okay.
The effervescent Alex Pavlovich, love talking with him. Susan Sluss. No, I'm only kidding. Luciano for me is number one. Because that's the middle of the order bat, and he's your shortstop. So this has to work. And then the second one is Lee, because we're going to scrutinize every time the guy sneezes, we're going to have news about him. So we'll have to see what he can do. And the other one is Harrison. Harrison got us. Look, Webb, thank God for Logan Webb. Please just keep him healthy. Put him in, in unbreakable packaging or something. But the second spot here goes to Harrison. And you want him to take his turn in spring training. You want him to be comfortable. He's still a kid, but you want to build up his pitch count and have him as a normal starter in spring training. Brian Price and Melvin are going to handle this thing differently. And that's going to be something else to watch too, how they build up the innings for their pitchers.
Yeah, that should be interesting. Yes. And by the way, chat, if you have any questions for Marty, just go ahead and direct them and we'll try to get to those.
Marty, I'm guessing Soler's probably gonna be batting third or fourth, but who do you think will bat behind Soler? Because if Conforto, that's what I kind of thought.
Yeah, because he's a right. You got Soler the righty, Conforto's the lefty. Then you got J.D. Davis. Then you've got Luciano. It depends righty lefty pitching, of course.
Correct.
Whether Wade leads off or Slater goes into that leadoff spot. But yeah, I would say Soler. I'd put him third. I'd put him third and Conforto fourth right now, and JD fifth as your third base. That's kind of the way.
Yeah, that's kind of how I.
Bailey's another one. We saw him when you look at the top catchers in the major leagues, and Joe Sheehan did a nice list. I don't know if you saw it he ranked all the catchers. They had Bailey in the top. God, I think the top 10. Catchers in the big league. He had him right by Real Muto. So Bailey's another one. Just want him to, get out of spring training healthy. And that position should, last year we had to deal with Perez and Bart, and we didn't know. There wasn't a catcher. We were going right to today, and they said to Gabe Kapler, "Who's your catcher?" And he says, "I don't know." Now you got a catcher. As Casey Stengel said, if you don't have one, there's a lot of pass balls. So they've got a catcher in Bailey. So I think that's another one you just want to let him have a good spring training.
Right. I mean, I think, prior to last night, Soler, there wasn't a lot to get excited about. This changes a lot, actually, because it gives you a little bit of hope. There's a power bat that you watch. And we gave, Farhan credit. He actually, we were saying, hey, Farhan, do something for the week before the Super Bowl. You can own but he kind of helped people get out of their depression a little bit.
Well, you didn't want to do something during the Super Bowl or the week or two prepping it. You get lost, buried if you're the Giants. This probably they accelerated their push here, once the Super Bowl was over. But look, I said this to you guys, and we agreed that until spring training starts, you can't judge the offseason for the Giants until it's all over, because it's a different world now. There are too many players that sign late, and they were still in content, like we're still talking. Look, what if they signed Snell? What if all of a sudden Snell falls into their lap? How about talking about that? And Cobb hopefully coming back, and Ray at the end of the season, and you got Harrison, and God, if you had Webb and Snell behind him,
that would be potent.
What if Jordan Montgomery fell into their lap? Give him another starting pitcher. Right. And we're really talking, but I kind of think that infield is just a logjam. And this little Lopez now, he does have an option, which means he probably will get optioned out, but he will be back and forth all year long. I'll guarantee you that to Sacramento. But that's what they do.
Yeah. Mike Vass says, Mr. Lurie, if Soler is the first domino to fall, first in a string of signings, what other moves do you expect Farhan to make?
Well, I think an infielder. We kid around on the show, which I've done with you guys over the winter, about Crawford. And I know they probably don't want any part of him. But everywhere you look, Crawford's still hanging out with all the guys, wherever he goes. And come on. I mean, if you had your choice of Otto Lopez backing up Luciano or Crawford, come on. I mean, really.
Right. It's I know some teams, they want to make a clean break and you don't have the storied franchise player hanging over your head, looking over you, because if you mess up, they're going to go right to him. I don't know if that's the deal. I think Crawford would take a fairly team-friendly deal at this point. He doesn't have much.
He play for nothing.
Yeah,
I mean, it would be great. I don't know why they're so hesitant about it. It'd be like having a coach on the field.
yeah.
You know,
Plus,
with
he's
Matt
great. He's
Williams.
clubhouse leader.
Yeah, with Matt Williams, and he gets it. He's not going to be a malcontent.
Right.
He's not going to be a malcontent. So I don't think it'll ever happen. But if it came down to a backup for Luciano, I wish they'd consider him. But I would imagine it's not going to happen.
We got Cliff Martinez. He's a dedicated chat member. He says, among the non-roster invitees, Marty, who are you looking forward to seeing the most?
Well, I think that Garrett probably has the best chance of, or this Ethan Small, a lefty reliever, that probably has the best chance of doing something. So I would say Amir Garrett, because if he shows something in spring that he's got it together, there's a spot for that left-handed reliever on the team.
Right. I think they're going to have to beat out Eric Miller, who's on the 40.
But he's never been in the big league. He came from the Phillies, hard thrower, lefty.
Yeah.
Didn't get called up last year. And I would think Garrett, I'd take Garrett over Miller if Garrett's got it.
Yeah. Yeah. Marty, you remember one of your callers, Rob Dizzle?
Absolutely.
There he is.
What does he want to know?
He just says hello.
Oh,
nice
good.
to hear you.
We're going to do our contest every Sunday. Gets a score of the game and get a free dinner at Original Joe's. We just opened up the new Elena's restaurant, the Mexican restaurant in West Portal. They've got a new one coming in the marina. It's got good things for Original Joe's. We're going to do more Original Joe's stuff this year.
Were you there recently? There was a photo on your Twitter there. Was it? Okay.
Yeah, I went there Thursday night. I had dinner sat at the bar. I just needed Bruce Jenkins with me.
There you go.
It was great. I had a really nice time there.
Oh, yeah. I love listening to you and Bruce. Yeah.
Yeah. Friday night, great. To Soto Mare on Green Street with Rich Azzolino is the owner there. Great guy. I love North Beach. North Beach is just fabulous. It was packed. So many people down there. The food is great. The restaurants are great. Original Joe's is an anchor. You've got Tony's Pizza across the street.
Oh, that's right.
Rich Azzolino up the block. You got the North Beach restaurant. It was really fun. I had a good time.
Oh, that's awesome.
Marty, I got to ask this question because I used to hear him all the time on the post game. Did Rudy from Tahoe ever bring food to you?
One time.
What?
He actually went to the Mission and got Raph and I some big sort of tortilla or something that he got.
Oh, did he? Okay. Oh, so it wasn't homemade. I used to get hungry every time he come on.
He would call first of all, we had our Amichis. We were stuck, Raph would order 100 chicken wings, from Amici. Then Rudy would call in. Really, Raph would call up and say, "We'll take 100 chicken wings." And the guy would say, "You're crazy." And Raph would, no, because, they board up and everyone loved them. All right. So Rudy would call in, at 7 o'clock if I was on till 8, or he'd call in at an hour before we'd be going off. And Rudy, what's new? What are you cooking tonight? Well, I got tri-tip, right? The tri-tip.
That tri-tip on the grill.
And he's got all this stuff. And I say, Rudy, we're sitting here eating chicken wings from Amici's. Why don't you bring us something? All right, I'll be down to see you and all that. And he came down, but never brought anything. Rudy from Tahoe. I miss the callers. Eric, I love that show.
Oh God, that was so much. I used to enjoy, even when the Giants had a tough loss. It was just something about it was a camaraderie of you felt like you were just sitting with a bunch of guys talking baseball. I loved it.
Yeah, I liked the show. I really did. It was just those hours were long hours for me.
Oh yeah,
I can understand. It was. On a Saturday, I'd be up at 6 a.m. on the air at 9. Then they get off 12:45. Then the game till 4:45, then John till 5:30, and then I take it from 5:30 to 8 or 9. And then have to come back the next morning in the bunker at 8 a.m., getting up at 6. So those were long weekends. So I was glad Bill wanted to do it.
Yeah, that's great. And Bill's been doing a great job.
He did. Look, Bill doesn't pull any punches.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, I love Bill.
Bill tells you what he thinks. He really does.
I remember Bill. I think wasn't he? I know when he was with the Giants, I was in my teens. I think didn't he come from the Kansas City organization?
Did he come
I
from
thought he
Kansas?
got
Yes,
traded from.
maybe so. I think he did. Then in his first start, I think he first started like a 2-hitter against the Expos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And yeah, he pitched that last weekend of '82. He was I think he pitched Sunday against
the Dodgers.
Sunday against the Dodgers.
Yeah, that's right. That was such an amazing. I couldn't believe they were in the race. I mean, they were all of a sudden they got hot.
On Friday night, Fred Breining got walloped. But I think they pitched Sunday. They pitched the Sunday game.
Yeah, that was the Joe Morgan game.
Yeah, in Giants history, that was a huge game.
Oh, yeah. Marty, I know you might have some insight on this with you covering the A's there for a while. You think they're going to stay in? You think they're going to go to Vegas, or you think it's somewhere else?
Boy, until I see them, I swear to you, and we've said this for so many years, until I see them actually constructing a stadium, I won't believe it.
Okay.
I have to see it. I really do. And boy, this Super Bowl, I mean, let's face it, it is football. It's once a week. But can you imagine putting a baseball stadium in the middle of that chaos of Las Vegas? Now, it wouldn't be like that, of course, all summer and a whole season. But it's a small little area to put a stadium.
Right. It really
now
is.
Now we're talking to the Coliseum again. John Shea had that today. And if I'm the Coliseum, I'm telling you, look, you're going to do XYZ for me, Major League Baseball. We're just not going to put the A's in here for the heck of it. They could do other things. They don't make that much money off the A's. I think the rent is like $1.2 million.
I mean, I don't know what the best option. The best option would be. I've never been an A's fan much. My brother's a big A's fan. He's personal friends with Bob Melvin. He knows the whole. He knows the lady that writes the paychecks. Went to school with her for the A's. Pam, forgetting her last name, but anyway,
Pam Pitts.
Pam Pitts, right? I'm thinking what I would love to see is somebody like Joe Lacob buy the team, build a new stadium on the where they were, Howard's Terminal or wherever it was, on the water or whatever that place was, because I think that would make the Giants ownership more competitive. If they've got, I don't like the idea of one team in the Bay Area market, because I don't know if the Giants ownership is going to feel any push or to put a competitive team
motivation.
out there. Motivation.
These are billionaires, multi-billionaires we're dealing with.
Right.
We don't, did you watch the TV show Billions on Netflix or on Prime or whatever it was on?
Never did see that one.
I didn't see that one, no.
Yeah, that's the guy I want to be my stockbroker, that guy. But, they're with billions, and they just live in a different world.
Right.
And that's what these people live in, a different world. And baseball is dying for Las Vegas. Baseball wants Las Vegas. You saw this weekend what was going on. Baseball wants that byline out of Las Vegas. And I think they've done everything they can to subsidize the A's and make it easy for them. And now let's see what happens. But yeah, it would be great if someone could buy them. But as far as the Giants are concerned, they run the club the way they want to. They don't think like we do. They're not looking at when they write a check, they don't look on the stub to see what their balance is. You know what I mean?
Right.
They just write the check. And we're talking about, well, will they be competitive? Who knows? It's such big money that you just don't know what's good. A lot of them are in it just for the hobby of being in it.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Aaron, he's another dedicated chat member, says, Marty, what will be the biggest difference with Melvin at the helm versus Kapler, given that the GM or president of baseball ops is the same?
Yeah, I think the way the game will be run I think Melvin, this will not be a pre-scripted game the way it was for Kapler. I think Melvin and Brian Price will get information, which is wonderful, all the analytical information, say defense and all that stuff. But they're going to watch the game, and they're going to run the game the way the game is flowing. That's what's going to happen. You're going to see a difference. And I think the biggest difference is with Brian Price, really, because, you're not wed to openers here. Even though you got Beck and Wynn and Hicks and Harrison, I think you're going to ask these guys to pitch as starting pitchers. You're not into this one inning and take them out. And
yeah, it'd be nice to see these guys be able to go 140 innings or something for the season.
I think if the guy is hot in a game, like we've seen, if a guy's 2 for 2 and they bring a lefty in to face him, well, maybe they're not going to pull Wade out. Maybe they'll give Wade a third at bat. Maybe. That's still an iffy one for me because the platoon splits are so dramatic.
Right. Clarence Speaks, thank you for the $5. Anything but football. Thanks, guys.
Clarence Speaks. He's got the best name on the internet.
Yeah.
He does.
And Marty, another question here from you from senior softball games. Do you think Sacramento would be able to support an MLB team?
Well, I think the fans are great. It's like the A's fans in the East Bay. They're great fans. But again, we're talking about TV markets and corporate seats and all that kind of stuff. That'd be a tough one. I don't know. I'd love to see the A's be there for a few years and see if Sacramento could. Let me ask him. Ask Aaron. What does Aaron think? Is that Aaron?
That's senior.
Ask. I'd like to.
Oh, he's all for it. He's dying for it. He thinks
he is. He lives in Davis, and he would love to see a baseball team in Sacramento.
Yeah. Well, look, Eric, where do you live? You're up there.
Dalton, just south of Sacramento, about 30 minutes.
Yeah, when you used to call in, I remember we used to talk about that. It's a great area. It's such a fertile area of sports fans and players that come out of there. You just don't know if it's like San Diego in a way. San Diego's got the mountains, they've got LA, they've got the Pacific Ocean and Mexico. And where are they going to draw from? But if you put a great product on the field in today's world of entertainment, people will show up.
Winning attracts people. Absolutely.
Yeah, so maybe let's show up.
So
I like the idea. I like it.
Yeah. Well, Marty, we've gone about we're about 9:23. You have to run, or you got a few more minutes, or it's up
got
to
a couple of minutes if you want to take some other questions. People have
Get those questions flying, guys. For
let's ask Eric. I want to ask Eric. Eric, how do you feel about? Well, how do you guys feel about going into spring training here? With the Giants, and what spring training means to you and everything else.
What spring training means. I just love it because it's the beginning of, as you say, the beginning of the baseball season, because that's the sport I love. I love watching baseball. And it's that whole, coming in the best shape that I've ever been. You hear those stories and you see what happens in spring training. The stories that develop in spring training is quite unusual sometimes because who was it? Was it Brett Pill? And I think there was another guy. I can't remember who it was. Yes.
All the home runs.
Yeah, and there's all this excitement.
This from the Marlins. He came from the Marlins.
Yep. Is this going to be the guy? And it's just the storylines are just, it's great because you hope there's a bit of, the whole kind of say it's like the Brock Purdy effect. You want to root for the underdog kind of, and the guy's gotten some success. Let's see if he can do it into the big leagues. And I love that part of spring training.
Yep.
I tell you, one of my favorites parts of spring training, and it goes back, how you have this, I don't know if it's muscle memory or just certain memories of your childhood. When I played ball, Little League, we played, our practice field was on an all grass field. And I just loved the smell of cut grass in the spring. It just got, you go through this dormant winter kind of, everything's brown. And then all of a sudden everything's blooming and green. And then a cut grass. It's baseball. That to me, when I went out to the field and you and I, Marty, walked the field like you walked every morning around the diamond, or all the way around the fields from center field all the way around. I just love that feel of being out on a ball field, seeing the cut grass, the smell of it, and the cracks of the bat. Oh, and then the glove popping. There's no sound like that, and it's the sounds of the game that I love.
Yep, it's bonding back with the game. That's part of it. Getting used to 3 outs in an inning, 3 strikes, throwing pitches, running from first to third. It's getting out there early, watching the throwing in the outfield, watching the pitchers, watching batting practice. It's bonding back with the game, and it takes a little while to do that. But by the time we are ready, first game at home is April the 6th, and April 5th. Mardi Gras is April the 4th. At Original Joe's again this year. And by the time we leave spring training, we're ready, and we're back in baseball again. People come down, and it's just the games. Doesn't matter who wins or loses. You were there. We stand there, we talk, we walk, we talk about the game, we make stuff up, we argue about stuff. And with a guy like Melvin, it's going to be nice because he's going to sit around and he can talk. Melvin,
it's going to be much more relaxed atmosphere.
Gabe was okay. I could give it to Gabe. I had no problem asking him what I thought were good questions, but he always had that little edge to him. That he was kind of doing you a favor by coming over to sit down and talk. Where Melvin's a totally different cat, as they like to say. So I think it's going to be fun, but it's just a day you like to get there at 8 a.m. and you like to hang around and you like to just have that feel of baseball. It's hope. Yeah. It's the metaphor for hope. No one's lost a game. Who knows what could happen? Who knows?
Speaking of that, before we'll let you go with this question, Marty, great segue. Who knows what will happen? What's your one crazy prediction you have for the year?
All right. That's a good question. Does it have to be a giant-oriented issue?
Well, he didn't specify.
He didn't specify. I'd say just anything baseball.
Okay. My one crazy prediction for the year is Pete Alonso will hit 67 home runs.
Oh.
Whoa.
We'll re-sign him. The Pete Alonso story will be 67 home runs.
Okay. Wow. You got one, Eric?
Oh, you guys are going to hate me for this one. Yamamoto wins Cy Young first year in the major leagues.
Okay.
I'm not going to hate you for that. That's all right. I'll give you one. The Dodgers do not make it to the World Series this year.
Well, look, they're built now to go to win the World Series.
Right.
Like when I grew up, and for most of my lifetime, the Yankees, if they don't win the World Series, it's a failure. This year is a failure. You get in the playoffs, they don't care. You better win it. And LA has kind of built themselves up to be that kind of team.
Yeah, I think it's going to be between them and Atlanta. And
they're not going to worry about winning 110 games and burn everybody out. They're going to build this thing up and build it just to get to October. And then if they don't win the World Series, people will go play volleyball. In New York, you don't win the World Series, and they'll push you onto the subway tracks. It's different in New York than it is in LA. But prediction, I think Dodgers, it's 104 for their number. I say they don't get to 100.
Interesting.
I say they don't get to 100.
I think they somehow get to 100 probably in their sleep, but I just think it's going to come down to them in Atlanta.
Different. Look, they're talking about Kershaw coming back in August, like Robbie Ray. They're just building up for what's coming.
True.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's going to be look how good is Arizona going to be? You got Tatis and Machado, you got Bogarts still there.
That's true. Forget about Bogarts.
It's Soto for the Yankees. What's going to happen there? You got Milwaukee's turned it over to a center fielder. They gave him like a $70 million contract. He's never been in the big leagues before.
Oh, is that Churio?
Churio.
Yeah, Pat Murphy's now the manager there. He counsels with the Cubs. Of course, you got Melvin here now. The Padres, are they a mess? Well, what's going to happen with them, really? There's some good storylines. Colorado, are they going to be hopeless once again? The A's are going to lose. The A's may be better than people think. They're going to, be in that division with the Angels.
Well, they got Alex Wood and Ross Stripling. Watch those two guys have good years now.
You got Seattle. Who knows what's going to happen with Seattle?
Right.
That starting pitching is terrific. They did make a bunch of trades and bring some people in.
Yeah.
Toronto, are they ever going to put it together? The Orioles, are these young players going to come together? Grayson Rodriguez and Jackson Holliday and Rutschman. You've got guys all over the place for them.
They're going to be exciting.
Yeah. You got Gunnar Henderson.
Right.
You got Sander. I mean, you got big players for the Orioles all of a sudden.
Oh, they traded for Burns. They traded for Burns, and they got.
You got Houston, like you say, with Bregman, and they're sort of redoing it a little bit now. Maybe Houston's ripe, to get knocked off a little bit. The Cardinals, Lance Lynn. Come on,
what was that?
Put a lot of old people in that rotation.
Yeah.
I
got one. I got a question for you. I know we're going to let you go here, but why do you think the Giants? You just rattled off all these teams that have some young, really exciting players. That are a lot of them are phenoms and getting 70 million, not even played yet. I mean, they've got these guys. San Diego had the Tatis and the Chirio and the Jackson Holliday and the Bobby Witt Juniors and the Rodriguez in Seattle and De La Cruz in Cincinnati. The Giants have not developed one all-star outfielder that has come up with the club and state. I'm not talking about Brian Reynolds or anybody or Duvall, but they have not had a player since Chili Davis. How does that happen?
It's just uncanny.
That's 40. That's over 40 years.
No, you're right. Well, someone asked a question about spring. Reggie Crawford is one. It'd be nice to see what he can do. Forget him as a hitter. This is a big left-handed kid, big arm. The teenager Eldridge, he could be the Giants guy.
Right.
He may be like, who knows, the Churio, the Bobby Witt kind of player. He is a young teenager and looks like he can swing the bat. Looks like an outfielder. So, those are the kinds of things we'll see. But it's inexplicable.
Yeah, the A's had all those guys. I mean, the A's just rattled off.
They developed pitchers. They developed catchers. But they had
a couple infielders, but no outfielders. I just don't understand it.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
I don't know.
Vaughn, is he still? Where is he?
He's still there. And interestingly, if you look at the MLB trade values, it's a website that lists the values. Von Brown, it's not as high as a lot of others, but he's still up there as one of the higher Giants prospects with a value for trade. So he's 25, but he's got tools. Will Clark loved the kid.
Yep. Hey, look, he's a great kid. He got hurt a lot, but the tools are there.
Yeah.
You see the kid. You've seen him. I've seen him in spring training.
Yeah, I hope he does well.
He can run.
He can run. I hope he does well. Well, Marty, just thank you for coming on. We'll have to have you on in the next week or two as things start happening. We'll start seeing some games, see a few more acquisitions possibly, and see what this club shapes up to be. But feel a lot better today than I did 48 hours ago.
Yeah. that season is over.
Yeah.
They were great. They were great. But football is once a week, and when it's over, it's over. Now this thing builds up. And they'll do something. We'll be on again after they sign Chapman. Let's see.
Yeah. Well, awesome.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, Marty. Well, thanks for joining us. We'll get you back on.
See you at the park.
Yep. All right. We'll see you, Marty. Take care.
Take care, Marty.
Bye, Eric. Good night.
Good night.
All right. The great Marty Lurie joins us once again on the NorCal
That's
Sports
great.
Network, which is
Absolutely
always
love it.
awesome. Awesome. Great treat. You know, Bay Area fans love to listen to Marty and hear from him. And he's got a wealth of knowledge and just, knows the game inside out, the history of the game.
Gosh,
Makes
I
it
know,
a lot of fun. So, but hey, guys, we're going to end it here ourselves. We've gone an hour tonight, and we will come back maybe tomorrow night. I may be doing, not sure, maybe doing a Warriors post game show with Ryan Smith.
Oh, nice.
Cool. Not sure if it'll be on the NorCal Sports Network or on West Coast Bias. Just getting a little excited about seeing the Warriors starting to play ball.
They're starting to play better, right?
Yeah. And we may not do, depending on. I think the Warriors play a home game tomorrow at 7:00, so it would end.
Ooh, that's going to be a late night for you.
Let's see, it'll end about 10 something here, so 9 something. So we'll see. We might do maybe we'll do a short Giants show starting. We'll see. But
maybe they'd make another move. We'll see.
Yeah. Are you doing military history tonight?
Yes, I am. I could set it up a little bit early. I had it set for 10:45, but hey, Cliff, what's up? Thanks, Cliff. $4.99. Marty, sorry, man.
Any specific trade targets? I'll ask him. He did say Arraez. Cliff, I don't know if you were on. We talked about Arraez. Marty really loves Arraez. Said he would love to have Arraez. Had him on his show last year when he was, flirting with 400. Said he's a great kid. Gives really good answers, detailed answers about hitting. So I think Marty would love for the Giants to pursue Arraez.
Hey, Michael, we went a little bit early today because Marty came on, and we gotta start a little bit early for him. That's the reason why.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I see what you're saying. What you guys start times? Yeah, it's 9:38 here in Arizona, and
once we get back on the same time, then it's going to be a little bit easier.
Right now, once the daylight savings, when you guys get with the program in California and get move your clock forward a little bit, you'll be on regular time like we are. No, it's hard because Marty doesn't like to stay up too late, and if we started right now, it would be hard to really get much time with him. So
we were accommodating Marty Lurie, absolutely, and we're going to. I mean, that's the right thing to do.
Yep, absolutely. We'll always work when we get a guest of that caliber. We'll work our time around that.
Real quick, Dan, Chapman. Do you really want Chapman? I mean, I know he was promoting it. I was just, gosh, I don't know, man.
I'm okay with Chapman for the 2-year deal only.
Yeah, right.
I'm okay with Chapman.
Marty doesn't think he's going to get a long term.
I don't know. We'll see. Maybe he won't. Maybe that's the holdup. I mean, teams are hesitant. I mean, if you and I feel it, and many others feel it, you don't think executives feel it?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
If I'm signing Chapman, I'm signing a deal where I can get out of that deal after the 3rd year.
Right.
So
I like what Marty said, though, about him helping out Luciano if he is the shortstop. But then he also said maybe Luciano could be the third baseman. I mean, who knows?
Right.
I don't know. I just hope, and I kind of put that in the thumbnail. Is there more to come? I hope they just don't stop with. I wish they just don't stop with Soler.
Oh, I hope not. I don't think. I think it's a waste to go out and sign Soler if that's all you're going to do.
That's what I was thinking as well.
If you're going to go sign Soler and you're not going to add to this team in the form of a solid infield piece or another bat somewhere, then you might as well just made Ramos your DH,
Yep, exactly.
or Flores and let Ramos play. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. So
hey, Michael, just so you know, I set the show up an hour before the show started. So if you got your notifications on, you should have gotten that. Hey, we were going to be starting at 7:30. And if you follow Dan, he tweeted it out too about a half hour, 45 minutes before the show started.
Yeah, I tweeted it out a good 45 minutes before that we were coming on at.
So give Dan a follow on Twitter or get your notifications on YouTube, and you should see it pop up.
Yeah. Yep. So
no worry, guys. Appreciate you guys bringing me on the guests. Great guests. Yes, love the show. Go buy a coffee or something. Yeah, Dan, go buy some more mint chip.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
But yeah, I am having a show on tonight. I kind of got bamboozled yesterday with that
trade of Soler or signing of Soler. What are you going to go on at 9:00?
Goodness, yeah, I might as well. I could change it up. Yeah, I could go on at 9:00.
All right, guys. Military History Chronicles. It's an all-night party.
I didn't get one. No, your notification. I don't know why you wouldn't have gotten it. That's weird.
Follow Dan. Yeah.
I saw your tweet come out about the Alonso stuff.
Yeah.
Marty brought that up last time he was on. Maybe trading for Alonso.
Yeah, maybe
he did.
I don't know. Yeah. Oh, well. All right, guys. Hey, listen, we're going to end it here. Go check out Military History Chronicles, probably about 9:00 Pacific. Eric promises to do a 3-hour show till midnight and keep you guys entertained.
Yeah. It'll be a good one.
For everybody who doesn't have a life outside of NorCal Sports and Military History Chronicle. Yeah. No. Anyway, guys, hey, thanks for joining. As always, we appreciate the chat. We appreciate your support. Make sure you hit that like button. Tell your friends about us. We're sitting a little over 1,500 subs now, and we want to get to 2,000. Hopefully, I can get some Giants content. I'm hoping they'll see that we're not bad guys because we've been critical. Heck, hasn't Bruce Jenkins and a lot of other
isn't it not deserved, right?
Writers have had critical things to say about the Giants.
I mean, come on, right?
Come on. If it's deserved, it's deserved. If it's not, hey. So, we're not here just bashing the Giants. We want them to be successful. We want the Giants to be successful. The more successful the Giants are, frankly, the more successful we are because you get more Giants fans.
Yep.
So, and that's not the reason I want them to be successful. The main reason is I want them to be successful because I followed them since I was 8 years old, and I'll be 63 here in August. So
right.
I'm looking. How long has that been? It's like going to be 55 years. So, man, I bled orange and black many, many years, but now I'm still a fan, but I'm more of a guy who roots for players. I want the team to win, but I want players to do well.
Right.
If I like the player, I want to see him do well. So anyway, I feel bad for a lot of the younger people who have not witnessed a 49ers Super Bowl title.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
A lot of you guys that went through the Giants that are younger, and you happen to just become a fan around, maybe this century, 2000, you've been a fan for 25 years. Maybe you're in your 30s and you get 3 World Series titles. Crud. I went from being a fan from 1968, 69 all the way until 1989 just to see him get in the World Series and get swept. And then I had to wait another 13 years till 2002. And my heart was broken. And I thought they'd never win a World Series.
That one was tough.
And then they win 3 in a row. So for you guys that have been fans, maybe you became a fan and you're, 25 years old, and the first one you weren't even, maybe you're 30 years old. You were born in, 94. So you're 8 years old in 2002. That didn't even phase you. But then you grow up and, you're 16 years old. In 2010, they win. Then they win again when you're 18, and they win again when you're 20. And you're kind of like, you're spoiled.
Mm-hmm.
I was in my 20s when the Niners, in fact, I was 19 when they won their first Super Bowl, and I watched them all the way through my 20s win and into my early 30s. In 94, they won their 5th. I was like, this is great.
Yeah, it was great.
So I feel for you, for the guys that are 49er fans that have had to go through 3 losses, because I went through 5 victories in a row.
Yep.
And when you do get a little older, they don't hurt that much. They hurt for a little bit, but you tend to look at it as like, well, if I could give you guys any advice when it comes to your team winning or losing a championship, let me try and put it this way to have it maybe sink in. Let's say your team wins a world championship. So your team wins a world championship. What does that do for your life? Does it really alter or change your life in any way? Yes, you're happy, you're ecstatic, you're on top of the world for a couple days, feeling elated. You've got your bragging rights, but really, it doesn't change your day-to-day living or your decision-making or what's happening in your family life, your health. And the same if they lose. Shouldn't affect your whole life. So you can't, you got to have somebody laugh at you or tell you, you can't win it. Don't take it personal. It's not you personally. I mean, I used to get so upset when I was younger, my 20s and 30s. So I just was so, doggone it, we lost. And I just get in arguments with people over, well, you guys haven't won since this year and you haven't won. You know what? That's sports. It's fun. But at the end of the day, it's a game. Enjoy your family.
Yep.
Enjoy your family, and make that your life goal and priority. And you'll be all right. All right? All right, everybody. Thanks for joining. Have a great night. Go check out Military History Chronicles. Should be getting going in the next 10 to 20 minutes.
Yep. All right. We'll see you guys over there. Woo!